I'm Lesley Thomson. I work with Liddell Thomson, and today I'm speaking on behalf of Liddell Thomson Graven Images, who have developed a strong partnership looking at branding in relation to economic development projects. One of the things I think is really important is that we stop and think about the opportunity that individual towns have to really reinvent themselves in a kind of modern context. So what would really be, I think, upsetting is that if we went around Scotland's towns and they had nice new bins and seats and lighting, but actually they'd lost any sense of distinctiveness. So what's really important when you're thinking about the future of a town is not just to consider what its role is in a modern context, but think about what informs that both historically and culturally. So I'm very interested in grounding branding and regeneration and things that really matter to people and that instill in them a sense of pride and reconnect them with their towns and their history.
Well, the people I've spoken to here today, they're talking about business opportunities, the business community getting together, and economics. What you're talking about is something a little bit different. You're talking about culture and feelings and things like that. How did the two come together?
Well, I don't think you can separate them. I read a great quote which was, strategy will eat culture every time, And sometimes I think the problem is that we're so focused on accountability, on demonstrating that we've kind of added value, that we lose sight of the values that really matter and the distinctiveness. And, actually those can be beautifully informed by the past and bringing that to life. And one of the problems we have nowadays is that we used to basically, the buildings that are around us outlived us. Very often now we outlive our buildings. And so that connection that we have with place and memory is fragmented and actually leads to quite a lot of disconnect between people and the places they live in. So that means that values and history become even more important.
Okay, so how does the general public, what do they see from your approach?
I think they see the ambition to really believe in the future of places. And one of the problems we've had through recent recessions, not just the current one, is that people have learned that the way to get investment is to say we're poor, we're needy, our area has suffered huge decline, give us money, we'll fix it. Actually what happens is that disconnects people from their local authorities, from the fiscal authorities, because what they hear coming out of that is, I live in a terrible place, it's decline, there's no hope, there's no future. What I'd like us to start thinking about is invest in us because we have a future, invest in us because we're a place that really matters to us, and we, the community, can actually help support that going forward.
Okay, so are you involved in any bids at the moment?
I'm not involved directly in any bids, although we have very broad connections with a wide number of local authorities, and there are one or two people that we're talking to just now, and I'm hopeful when they've got other things aligned that we'll be able to take some of those conversations forward, because there is really good potential to do something differently here, for Scotland.
And there's a whole range of speakers, most of them from Scotland. We've got a gentleman from the United States, Chuck Daldov. What are you hoping to learn from this conference today?
Well, I've spent quite a lot of time doing this work not in Scotland, and what I've learned is that, we're very fortunate in Scotland. We've got a lot going for us, we've got wonderful towns, wonderful cities. I think what we need to do is stand back and appreciate them and then move forward. And so I think listening to what other people say and what they might reflect on here might help us to revisit and rediscover our towns for ourselves.
Lesley, thank you very much.
My pleasure.